let us go about these meetings in a professional way. And Jesus Christ, would you thank our visitors for coming today and guide us all safely home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Roll call. Meredith Rayleigh. Here. Bill England.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
On.
Julia Coates. Here. Jody Fishingham. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. John Garvin. Frankie Hargis. Here. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Hannah Glory Jordan. Present. Lee Canner.
On me.
Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Here.
David Walton-Stick. Karen Cowan Watt.
Honey,
We do have a quorum.
and we have a quorum. First of all, I want to welcome our two newest members, Ms. Hargis from Adair County and Mr. Bird from Cherokee County. And you want to say a few words, either of you? Glad to be here, bud. Good. Glad you're here. Next order of business is approval of the December 13 regular session. Moved in second. Any discussion? Yes, Ms. Calmore?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I was curious if it would be appropriate, because I thought some of the discussions and the responses from our nominees especially were critical to be highlighted in the notes. I'm not quite sure how that should be worded. So, for example, I think that John Garrett's positions with the United Katua Band should be highlighted. And then on Secretary of State Charles Head, his response in support of the 2003 Constitution and support for our tribal sovereignty, in particular with respect to the United Katua Band. And then on those two, and then there was additional on whether or not there wasn't any highlight of the redistricting data not being correct that we'd been handed out, I think, at that meeting. I don't think I have the meetings confused, but that the redistricting data was not correct that had been handed out under that item. And then on the compensation debate, some of the issues that were brought out during the travel stipend, I thought there needed to be more depth. And I know that we had changed how we do our meeting minutes because the video is available, but I would think that those are some important issues. I don't know how we could address that, and I was looking for your advice on that.
Are you requesting that the minutes be amended to include those?
Yes, please.
Do you want to make a motion to do that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion on the amendments as proposed? All in favor, signify by saying
I do have a question. What are you wanting done? You want them highlighted?
I just want them stated because those are such critical issues.
Mr. Henry?
What we would need to do for any amendment to the minutes is you amend it just like you do a piece of legislation. They need to be specific, and you would need to go back through the video archives that we have, and you would need to say, I want this language inserted in the minutes. So, I mean, it needs to be specific.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. So can we table till next month? Is there something that would that, and then I'll work with Shelley to make sure that those issues are brought out and I have specifics brought forward?
You'll have the written amendments
Yes.
for us next month.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So you move to table.
Move to table.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, table. The December 13 regular session minutes are tabled to next month.
Thank you.
Next approval is the December 12 impeachment subcommittee minutes.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the subcommittee minutes? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The minutes stand approved as written.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, I'd like to move to amend the agenda to add as the last item of business the legislation that passed out of the impeachment subcommittee, which Shelley, I think, is prepared to distribute.
Item 014.
I'll second that.
That's correct.
Moved and seconded to amend the agenda. Any discussion on amending the agenda? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes, the agenda stands amended. Next are reports. First report is Mr. Buell. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. First, let me say thank you for having me here today, and this is the first time I've ever presented for rules. With that being said, I think most of you, or probably all of you, have the report that I submitted in December. What I'd like to add to that is a statement if any of you of the council, especially the Rules Committee, would like to see something different, something added, something taken away from our monthly reports, please don't hesitate to let me know that, because I want to bring the best product to you that I can bring, and I want to answer your questions in a manner that should be answered. So if you have those concerns, please get those to me. Other than that, are there any questions about the report?
Countywide.
Thank you. I'd ask for an update on the Claremore Indian Hospital jurisdictional
Okay.
issues.
The update, Trent Shores, the U.S. Attorney over Indian Country out of the Northern District, has been actively involved. We met on a telephone interview with the U.S. Marshals Department out of Tulsa. The best way to handle that, there's two ways to handle the Claremore Indian issue. One is a piece of legislation, taking it out of USA and putting it into some other body so we can have jurisdiction there. The second way is to get a special deputization under the U.S. Marshals, so we would actually work under the U.S. Marshal flag on Claremore Indian. That's the easier fix, and the one that Trent Shores at the U.S. Attorney's Office would like to see done. It's currently in the process of going through D.C. At the U.S. Marshal's Office to make sure that we want and the Marshals want a limited deputization, so we don't have Cherokee Marshals running around in St. Louis, doing stuff. But we need to be able to respond and act appropriately at Claremore Indian. So that's in the process between D.C. and the U.S. Attorney's Office.
And I have one more question. Thank you, Madam Chair. The coordination efforts, and I don't know that should be something that you lead, but because of the transition of administrations, and I'm still not clear who's doing what, we really need the coordination for District 5, especially with Rogers County, for the Rogers Downs facility, the Hard Rock facility on disaster emergency management, as well as Claremore Indian Hospital, because as an IHS facility and our jurisdictional issues, it's just really complicated. And what we found even during Snowmageddon, we didn't have emergency response in place. I have not gotten the plan that I was promised by the staff, so I would ask that if you could take ownership of that issue as well and put that forward, I would appreciate it.
Councilwoman, I can definitely look into that, most definitely. The sheriff at Rogers County, as you well know, are very proactive partners with us, so I can definitely set up a meeting with him. I think that's part of our focal point, get him bought into it, and then we can get those CATUSA and those other agencies around there. So if you'd like that, I can get that done within the next probably 2 weeks. So.
I would appreciate that.
All right, and I'll get your report back next rules on
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes, so, Bill, I have two questions. One would be, as far as plans to cover a district, District 3 has no marshals as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
And I think that we need at least 2 marshals in that district. Anytime that we call for one, it usually takes 2-3 hours or maybe longer. Anytime we call for a backup for a property, sometimes they don't show up, and I've been down and backed up property. I know what I'm talking about a little bit. But if you could include some marshals for our district, I would really appreciate it, because we had never had any. Also, I was wanting to know about marshals' investigations.
Okay.
Is there any way that a council person could call for an investigation of something?
You mean like call us like
Marshal
report
Service?
a crime? Is that what you're talking about? Yes, we have anyone, whether it's council, administration, or the general public, can call us with a concern, a complaint, any type of concern of criminal activity. And we do due diligence no matter what that is, and look at it, try to address it the best way possible. So.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Walkinsky?
Hey, Shannon, have you guys gotten with the OHP regarding the guess, getting them cross-deputized to come in to tribal land?
We have, in the past, we've met with the command staff of Oklahoma Highway Patrol because of our Kenwood issue. We do have a needed concern in Kenwood. The road that goes through Kenwood, parts of that road is state land. However, OHP doesn't like to come out and work traffic accidents on it, and vice versa. So it has been 2 years trying to get that process. With state agencies, unlike Tahlequah PD or Cherokee County, are slow to move on things. OHP has, to my knowledge, has never cross-deputized with an Indian tribe to my knowledge, and so it's a work in progress. Hopefully we'll take great steps in the next little bit. OHP is a huge asset that we could have if we can get crossed. Same with the Tulsa County Sheriff. We have some Indian land and Indian smoke shops in Tulsa County, and we're not crossed with them either. So that's another push that we're trying to do.
I spoke to you before about this. I know some of the issues are contacting the top dog at the OHP. And is there some way that we can be of assistance, or do we have resources to get to that top official where we can try to set up a partnership? That way we don't run into that issue with, one of our marshals is down in Cherokee County and something happens in Kenwood, but OHP doesn't want to react to the accident, and so our marshals got to travel 40 miles and it's too late.
One of the things we do is we start at that troop command, and that would be out of Veneta Troop Command, and work our way all the way through them first before I want to move to Oklahoma City. I'd just as soon not go straight to Oklahoma City and surprise the troop command there. So that's where we're at now. If we don't get resolution in a timely manner at the troop level, then I would like to go forward at the state level. So that's just how I would like to handle that.
Yeah, what's your time frame on that?
It's been going for 2 years. Hopefully we'll get the troop back within the next, I think, 2 months. If I don't hear something positive back, I would like to go to Oklahoma City maybe by March. If that's all right with the council.
All right, appreciate it. That's all. Thanks, Speaker.
Mr. Hopkins?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't know if you report this to us periodically, but I assume you keep a log of when your officers go to like the low-income housing units.
Yes.
The reason I ask is because I just want to know maybe for the next meeting how many times they come to Buffington Heights and Veneta, and if you want to log, present those for all of those low-income units, I'd appreciate it. There's a few constituents who express some concern about someone coming on the property and having to rely on the local police to intercept that person, and they're stretched pretty thin. And I said, well, we do have a marshal service, and they said, well, do they come up here? And so I just want to find out if they are, and if they're not, if we can expand the coverage or anything like that.
Well, I can address that. We do put our Nahazda sites on the report. It's usually at the end of the report. It's how many Nahazda patrols are, but I only break it down for the council as far as districts. And now we have the capability going site by site, but I don't know if we've ever presented that to the council. But one of our concerns that we have as an organization is we're kind of changing the makeup of the Marshal Service, getting rid of some of the command elements and pushing those back down to street-level officers. The more people we can get on the street, if I can get more people on the street and not come to you for an increased budget, I will be happy about it, and I'm sure that you will be happy as well. So that's one of the things we've been doing the last probably 3 weeks is seeing if we can better streamline our organizational structure so we can get those bodies out on the street where they need to be in our communities. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you for that report.
thank you, ma'am.
Office Attorney General, Ms. Hammond. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We've been fairly busy this past month. You may have seen us in the news. Ms. Nemo has been on television quite a bit. She's here to answer any questions you might have about the South Carolina case to the extent she can, and or the certiorari petition to the United States Supreme Court. As to the South Carolina case, you all know this, but we're also speaking to our audience and to the public. We are bound by confidentiality not to disclose the details of a juvenile case, as are all parties to juvenile cases, adoptions. They're not adoptive parents, their foster parents have chosen to disregard that confidentiality in the South Carolina case and have the child's picture, even her birth date, her parents' names, plastered all over the internet, spreading propaganda, inaccurate information. We have asked the South Carolina courts to release the very detailed, very accurate order that the district court found, making findings of fact after hearing all the evidence about all of the issues in that case. So we're kind of hamstrung in trying to respond to this because we're bound by law not to reveal details. But I just want to remind you and the people listening to us that this is not the first time, and it will not be the last, where non-Indians illegally take an Indian child, keep that child for a number of weeks, months, or years, and then throw a fit and say, oh, you can't take the poor baby away from me. If that argument held water, we wouldn't have the Indian Child Welfare Act, which was passed in direct response to that sort of thing happening. In the 70s, at one point, as much as a third of Indian children were not with their homes, had been taken from their homes. So this is nothing different. These people are just a little more vocal and a little more persistent in using the internet and media for their own purposes. You have my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Questions for Ms. Hammonds?
I just have a comment. Thank you. Attorney General Hammonds, I just want to say thank you for your incredible work that you and your team do concerning Indian child welfare in particular. The fight that we've already begun and done to some degree on our water rights, our water quality issues, numerous other things, and even herding cats for us here on council as we debate conflict of interest issues and trying to make sure that we are all legally compliant with the laws and ethical standards we as elected officials are supposed to have. And I know that's a large burden that you have shouldered well, and I just greatly appreciate the service you've provided to the Cherokee people and me in my role as council. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been my responsibility and my privilege and my honor. And if I have had any success at all, it is directly attributable to the great attorneys and great staff we have at our office. They are underpaid, overworked, and underappreciated. None of them are there for the money or the glory or the fame or the power. They are there because they care, and any one of them could go into the private sector and make 3 times what they do. I really appreciate them, and we have been successful, and it's just based on their work. But thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond.
Thank you.
Election Commission, Ms. Plum. Is anyone here from the Election Commission? It's not. Their report is in our books. Ms. Swepston, Tax Commission. Afternoon, Sharon.
Afternoon. I think you have my report. I only have one thing to add to that report. Effective February 1st, we've been open on Tuesdays and Thursdays late till 6, but we haven't gotten a lot of traffic, so we are going to back that up and just be open on Tuesday evenings till 6. So, and they're posted out on the web. We're trying to get it out in the newspapers, and we posted signs, so trying to get that knowledge out to everyone. But starting February 1st, we will just be open on Tuesdays till 6 instead of Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Tahlequah office. But other than that, I think you have my report, and I'll try to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions? Yes, Ms. Cameron.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you for the quick response. I know I had a lot of concerned parents in Rogers County when the rumors or actual fact, or I don't know what happened, that our smoke shops potentially were selling, is it fake marijuana?
Yeah, K2.
K2.
Synthetic marijuana.
Synthetic marijuana. And so you were very quick in response to that. It was very helpful because I also had a media inquiry, and I greatly appreciate you and our tax commission and your staff. And then the other thing was, could you tell me, like, what is the question's been posed if you are fraudulently fronting a tag for somebody else or have a tag out of district? that is, what is that penalty for that? What is that
On
repercussion?
our side, the penalty would be that we would just have to revoke that tag for
Okay.
us. Now, the penalty on the other side is if you get caught with that tag and you don't have, and it's been revoked on our side and you're carrying that tag, it's a good possibility your vehicle's going to get towed. But if you sign an affidavit, you sign it saying, when you tag that vehicle, you're saying, I am the citizen, it's my vehicle, it's housed in the jurisdictional area 51% of the time. So you're signing that affidavit saying that that's where that vehicle's at. And if you're signing for someone else and you know that vehicle is not in the jurisdiction, or you know that vehicle truly doesn't belong to a tribal member, then you're committing fraud. And when we get those cases, then we usually highlight them in our system, and then I turn them over to the AG's office when we get those and let them do an investigation on that and see what they need to do to that. And we've had 2 or 3, but not a lot, that's been turned into us. So.
And do we turn them over to the federal government or the state government or anything?
That would be a question probably for
the AG's
AG. I
office.
think we've only had 1 or 2 cases like that. That's all we've had that's been brought to our attention. So.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sharon.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Madam Chair.
Any questions or comments from Ms. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hanby, self-governance. Anyone here from self-governance?
Madam Chairman, I'd just like to apologize. Vicki Hanby is away on travel, and I just found out that her report didn't get submitted timely. I just have had it emailed to Mr. Evans, and it will be distributed to you all shortly after this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Your first boo-boo on the job. Ms. Calvert, you have a question?
Never mind. It is not appropriate at this time. I just realized. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hummingbird, grace us with your presence again.
You are welcome. I hope my report made it in this month. It did not make it in. Okay. I did send it over. However, I will make it available after this meeting. But one thing that the report I submitted earlier that did not make it in had in it that I wanted to update you on is something, just a little bit of a tidbit of information that as of the end of calendar year 2010, the nation, under the terms of the state compact, has contributed in excess of $100 million in fees paid to the state under the terms of that agreement. And that to me is a major milestone in the effectiveness of what that document has been able to bring into the nation. This is what we have met our obligation to the state for, and for $100 million to come from this tribe alone going to the state, I think that's a significant contribution on behalf of the Cherokee Nation to the state economy. So I just wanted to bring that tidbit of information out. Since you don't have my report,
We noticed that.
I'm not sure if you have any questions, but if you do have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain those.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually tried to call before on this, but we didn't connect. So if somebody has been banned, whether it's by someone else or the family or by themselves, and it's an issue of a gambling issue,
Right.
that only stays in our system, or is that in the state system? And would it show up on background checks, or would it, I mean, do people have access if they're like going into a position of trust? How could we verify and check to see if somebody had a gambling problem and was going into a position of trust?
At this point, kind of give you a brief thumbnail sketch of the excluded patrons policy. There's only 2 ways to be excluded. You either get excluded by the company, by the casino, or you exclude yourself. Nobody else can exclude you. Okay. I cannot call up and have my wife excluded, or my child, or anybody else. So you either get excluded or you are excluded yourself. When you exclude yourself, you have a selection of time periods. You have up to 6 months, 1 year, or forever. And in order to come back, if you're not excluded permanently, you have to petition the operations for permission to come back. And typically they have you jump through a number of hoops in order to be considered eligible to come back. Otherwise, you have to await that term that you've been expired. Now, everybody that's on the barred patron list, whether it's for 24 hours or permanent exclusion, all of that stays internal. It is not shared with the state. It's not shared nationally. It's not shared with other tribes. So it's only here. So the only way we would know if somebody has potentially a gambling problem is if you look at a self-exclusion, and if that person's name is in our database, that's the only way we can tell. Other than that, it is up to that individual to disclose that themselves if they are asked if they have any type of gambling issue.
So if law enforcement agencies or somebody doing a background check,
It will not show up.
and they wouldn't be able to ask you either, is what I'm hearing?
No, law enforcement can have access to our records. That's something that's allowed for under both federal and tribal law. So if law enforcement is conducting an investigation on an individual and they ask us if we have any records on John Doe or Jane Doe, and if we have those records, we're obligated to turn them over.
What about a background check, though, for a position of trust? Not necessarily a criminal or civil investigation.
It would be the same thing. Law enforcement has access to all of our records.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions or comments? Mr.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Jamie, how far back are we going on this $100 million for the Cherokee?
This goes back to January of 2005. So for the past 7 years, approximately, it has been on average since about mid-part of 2008. The nation has contributed on average per month over $1 million to the state. Before that, it was less simply because we did not have the level of machines and number of machines on our property. But this is going back approximately 7 years.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hembry, are we ready to go to print?
Yeah, we're closer than we were last month.
Let's see, did I hear that last month?
You've heard it for a number of months, but we did have, Mr. Morton and I had a very good conversation with Mr. John James, and I would want to thank Ms. Kellen Watts for helping facilitate that. He has the disc, and he is formatting everything into what we had talked about. One universal format that can be easily interchanged. And we expect to have that very, very soon. If I change positions and become the Attorney General, I have spoke with members of the Attorney General staff, and we are going to make this a top priority. I've been a one-man show for a while. Now I will have 10 very competent and learned attorneys to help me with this path. Also, Mr. James and I talked about using other resources of the tribe, possibly even day work individuals, interns, to help complete this project. We're very close. I would say we're 90% there. But now we have the resources and the commitment to put forward to it. And I would ask that the chair keep this as a committee topic with my name on it, please.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Hembry?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone here from the Youth Leadership Council? Okay. Is anyone here on the citizen data update? Ms. Calhoun?
I understand from email exchange that would be Secretary of State Charles Head, according to Chuck Hoskins Sr. So I sent an email back in December asking for additional information that had already been generated but just hadn't been provided to us, which should take about 30 minutes. I have yet to be provided with that.
I met with the data, we formed the data work group, met with them this week. They're putting that information together. I just met with them yesterday, and we should have some information to look at hopefully within 2 weeks, and we'll get that to you as soon as we can, before the next committee meeting.
May I clarify? They've already generated a map that was produced for this committee. I simply need, behind the geodata, the table of the population that's on that same map associated with the zip code. That was the only thing I think I'd requested in clarification, or the primary thing. I don't even know that it'll take 30 minutes.
Okay. Could you
So I'd
do me a
hope for
favor?
it by tomorrow morning.
Could you forward that email to me so I know
sent it
exactly what
to
you're
Hoskins
talking?
Senior
Well, he's not
this
here.
week.
If you could forward it to me, so I can know exactly what you're asking for, since this is new to me.
Okay, because David had got it directly, and he's the technical staff person, so I am really, we are under a deadline. This body is under a law deadline in two different places, under the election law that we cannot change as we get close to the election, which is coming up in 2013, plus the compliance with the redistricting and apportionment laws.
So, Mr. Justice has this email?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'll get with him first thing in the morning, and we'll go over it.
And you're welcome to call me in the morning.
Okay.
If it's not clear. Thank you, Mr. Head.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on down, the next order of business is old business, and the first item is implementation of the Independent Information Technology Service. Mr. Hoskins?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we continue to have a pretty full agenda. I'll just suffice to say I think it's an important issue that we look at this, but I'm content with tabling this to the next month.
Have a motion to table. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor of tabling, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Hoskins. Item 2 is development of 15 separate council districts for the Cherokee Nation Tribal Council. Discussion only. Mr. Thornton.
Yes, I think we've already discussed some of these. I would like to include that Todd Henry, Todd, would you say that?
Yes, sir.
Todd has checked with David Justice, and I think we was promised a map, and also the registered database. David hasn't come forward. I think it was promised here Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that.
Yes, I met with Mr. Justice, and he said he was going to meet with Mr. Head. We know the meeting took place. We don't have a map yet. We've heard discussions earlier. Let me just reiterate what has already been said, that this is a matter of great importance. We are under kind of a double-edged deadline. We're burning the candle at both ends. This is of extreme importance, and I will work in whatever role I am into ensuring that the council gets the data they need in order to complete this project in a timely fashion.
Well, as you both know, Mr. Head, you and David Justice, that this is developed into old business. It's not quite as old as me, but it's pretty old. So I appreciate anything you can do by the next meeting. And I also would like to carry this over to next month. Bring it forward next month.
Mr. Hoskins?
Just briefly, Madam Speaker, and probably everybody's mindful of this, but the real deadline we're looking at, which is coming up so quick, I think would be completing our committee work by June. I think I'm correct about that, because we need to pass in July.
It's quick.
We're talking about a handful of months, and we all recall the process last time. The biggest challenge is to make sure we have a population that is accurate and reasonable, because once we get that, then certainly we're going to have to look at the map and communities of interest, things of that nature. But until we get a number that we all recognize is a reasonable reflection of our population, we're going to be doing a lot of that work, and I don't want to get us bogged down there, because that really bogged us down last time. So I know you appreciate that. You were there, but just a reminder that we're only looking at a handful of months before we must act under law.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Calmont?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, I think because it's discussion only on the item, we can't even take a motion to set any parameters, can we?
No, it's just discussion only.
So, I would ask, without a motion, I guess, if there's no objection from the body, that next month it be for action, because there's parameters such as we could set, such as the date we freeze the data. So we're talking about one set of timelines, because that was one of the moving targets that pushed us further out last time. Then I think there needs to be an understanding that the court's ruling on how the data is treated, that you cannot arbitrarily remove bad addresses. They're still counted where they were last known. those kind of things, we know from the court orders have to be agreed on in the data, and we shouldn't be getting having to face some of those, get bad data sets not based on what the courts already helped us determine is accurate for counting our population. So I think those are opportunities. And we may need to consider a lawsuit as well if we're not moving forward fast enough.
You're sponsoring this, is that
Yes.
all right with you?
And I'd like to be added as a sponsor as well. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Hawkins, did you have your hand up?
Just a very brief
Yes,
follow-up.
go ahead.
I wonder if the legal issues that the councilwoman raises, I wonder if, Todd, if you could kind of refresh our memories on that next month, and when you come here as Attorney General. I don't know if you could prepare something just to address what the councilwoman just raised, because I could certainly use my memory refreshed on those issues.
Absolutely. What we can do is, and I will be at your service regardless of the role that I'm in, and I will get with any counselor that is interested, and we will do what I'll commit is that we will do a historical memorandum of the redistricting process, where we've gone, where we've been, and where we want to go.
You'll probably have a staff to help you out with that.
I can't wait to use the staff. This is going to be neat.
Thank you.
Mr. Lay?
I think that probably answered it. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other discussion on item 2? Okay, we'll bring it up again next month. Under new business, we have selection of committee chair and co-chair. First one is Rules Committee. Yes, Ms. Leslie?
Yes, I put in nomination Chuck Hoskins Jr. as Chair of Rules.
Second.
Moved and second for Mr. Hoskins as Chair of Rules. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All in favor of Mr. Hoskins as Chair of Rules, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Hoskins, you are it.
Thank you for your service, Councilwoman Bradley.
It's Chuck Hoskins' dad that caused this for 8 years.
Mr. Chair, if I would indulge the committee for just a second, I just want to express my gratitude for the outgoing chair, Meredith Fraley. She has ran this committee with honor and distinction for 8 years. 8 years. And it's been my pleasure to be a part of the staff to serve you and this council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, and I also want to express my appreciation for Speaker Fraley's service on this committee, and I've been accustomed to getting distracted by the occasional joke from Councilman Thornton. I have to sharpen my focus and put a chair between us.
Do I still get to shush you?
Always. All right, our next order of business is co-chair of Rules Committee. Are there any nominations?
I'd make a motion to nominate David Walkingstick as co-chair of Rules.
We have a motion for Councilman Walkingstick. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Lloyd Jordan. Any other nominations? Councilman Calhoun, thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I nominate Councilman Lee Keener.
Okay. Councilman Keener, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Coates. And Todd, if I could ask, do we essentially take a vote up or down? I do need to ask for any more nominations, but when the nominations are exhausted.
Mr. Chairman, what I would recommend is that when nominations are exhausted, and if it's 2 or more, that you take a vote, and the last place person would be discarded. When it's 2 or less, with less, it's acclamation. But when there's 2 individuals, what I would recommend is that there be a call of the body to vote for an individual, that the body signify by raising their hand, and that Ms. Shelley signify in the record who is voting for who. If there is an individual that reaches a majority of 9, that person is elected.
Very good. All right. We'll return to nominations. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we have 2 nominees, Councilman Walkingstick and Councilman Keener. take a vote on those two nominees.
My recommendation is to have a call of the body and say, all those in favor of Mr. Walkingstick, please signify by raising your hand. Those votes will be counted and recorded in the record as to who is voting for that person. And then there will be a second call for Mr. Kinger.
All minds clear? All in favor of Mr. Walkingstick, signify by raising your hand.
Ms. Britton, could you say those names audibly as you go down so everyone can hear?
Yeah. Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, Dick, that's 9.
Councilman Walkingstick having received a majority.
Have the second call so we will have a complete record.
All right. It'll sink in eventually. We'll have the second call for Councilman King.
I have Fraley, Tinger, Garvin, Thornton, Baker, Coates, Callan Watson, England. And that's 8.
Councilman Keener did not achieve a majority, so Councilman Walkingstick is the co-chair. Congratulations, Councilman. All right, our next order of business is Chair of the Executive and Finance Committee. Nomination for Chair, Councilman Floyd Jordan.
Yes, I nominate Jody Fishing Hawk.
Second. Second by Councilman Byrd. Any other nominations? Councilman King?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I nominate Jack Baker.
I'll second.
Nomination and a second for Councilman Jack Baker. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll have a show of the body in support of Councilman Jody Fishing Hawk. Show of hands.
Okay, I have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, Walkingstick. We have 9 votes.
We'll have a show of the body for, who is our second nominee?
Baker.
Councilman Baker.
We have Fraley, Keener, Garvin, Thornton, Baker, Coates, Callan Watson, England. And we have 8 votes.
Councilman Baker did not receive a majority. Councilman Fishing Hawk is the chair of Executive Finance. Congratulations, Councilman. Next, we will accept nominations for co-chair of Executive Finance. Do I hear any nominations?
I'll make the nomination for Chuck Hoskins Jr.
I hear a second. Second by Councilman Hargis. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Jack Baker.
Jack Baker. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Councilman Callan Watts. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll have a show of the body for Chairman, Councilman Hoskin.
Okay. We have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, and Walking Stick. We have 9 votes.
Show the body for Councilman Baker.
We have Fraley, Keener, Garvin, Thornton, Baker, Anglin, Coates, and Cowan Watts. And we have 8 votes.
Councilman Baker did not receive the majority. Councilman Hoskins, co-chair. We'll now take nominations for chair of community service.
Mr. Chairman, I
Nomination.
nominate David Thornton.
Second.
We have a nomination of David Thornton, and a second by Councilman Cowan Watts. Councilman
I'd like to nominate Councilor Lay.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Councilman Boyd Jordan. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, show of the body for Councilman Thornton, Chair of Community Services.
Okay, we have Meredith Fraley, Lee Keener, John Garvin, David Thornton, Jack Baker, Julia Coates, Carrie Cowan Watts, and Jill Anglin. 8 for Thornton.
Show of the body for Councilman Lay.
We have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Lori Jordan, Vargas, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, Walking Stick. And we have 9 votes.
Councilman Lay has the majority. Congratulations, Councilman Lay. We now move to nominations for co-chair
I'd like
of
to
community
make a
services.
nomination for Frankie Hargis.
All right, we have a nomination for Councilman Hargis and a second by Councilwoman Boyd Jordan. Any other nominations? Councilman Cowan Watts?
I'd like to nominate David Thornton as co-chair.
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Coates. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll have a show of the body for Councilwoman Hargis.
We have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Lori Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Lay, Walking Stick, and Hoskin. We have 9 for Hargis.
Show the body for Councilman Thornton.
We have Anglin, Cowan Watts, Coates, Baker, Thornton, Fraley, Keener, we have 7. Did I get Garvin? Garvin, we have 8.
Councilwoman Hargis has the majority. Congratulations, Councilman. All right, we'll move on to accept the nominations for chair of the Education
I'd like to
Committee.
make a nomination for Joe Bird to be chair of education and Don Garvin to be co-chair.
We have a chair and co-chair nomination. We have a second by Councilman Hargis. Mr. Hembry?
That would be out of order. Chair, co-chair, take it.
Councilwoman, rephrase your motion to be...
Yes, I'll make the co-chair later. I would like to make a motion for Joe Bird to be chair of education.
We have a second. We have a second for Councilman Byrd. Any other nominations, Councilman Cowan Watts?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to nominate Dr. Julia Coates for chair of Education Committee.
Second.
Okay, we have a nomination, second by Councilman England for Councilman Coates for chair. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we will have a show of the body for Councilman Byrd.
Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Argus, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, and Walking Stick. And that's 9.
We'll have a show of the body for Councilwoman Coates.
We have Anglin, Cowan Watts, Coates, Baker, Thornton, Fraley, Keener, and Garvin. And we have 8 votes.
Congratulations. Councilman Burns. All right, we'll move on to co-chair of the Education
I'd like to
Committee.
nominate Don Garvin as co-chair of education.
Second.
All right, Councilman Thornton, I think was in on a first motion, but would you second?
No, it's already been
Okay.
seconded.
Councilwoman Cowan Watts, Councilman Garvin, any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? And Todd, will we proceed by acclamation?
That is correct.
All right. All in favor of Councilman Garvin by acclamation, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Councilman Garvin. We'll move on to the Health Committee. Nomination for Chair of the Health Committee.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Janelle Fulbright.
Second.
For the nomination of Councilwoman Fulbright, second by Councilwoman Cowan Watts. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll vote to approve Councilman Fulbright by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Councilman. We'll move now to co-chair of the Health Committee. Nominations for co-chair of the Health Committee. Councilman nominate.
Nominate Mr. Lay.
We have a
Second.
second. We have a second by Councilman Snell for Mr. Lay. Any other nominations? Councilman Keener.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Karen Watts for co-chair.
Nomination.
Second.
And a second for Councilman Karen Watts by Councilman England. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we will have a show of the body for Councilman Fulbright.
No.
Councilor
Lay.
Lay.
Councilor Lay.
I have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Argus, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, and Walking Stick. That's 9.
We'll have a show of the body for Councilman Cowens.
And I have Anglin, Cowan Watts, Coates, Baker, Thornton, Fraley, Keener, and Garvin. And that's 8 votes.
Councilman Lay has a majority. Congratulations. All right, we'll move on to Chair of the Resources Committee. Do we have any nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Curtis Snell.
Second.
All right, we have a second by Councilman Thornton. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote on Councilman Snell as chair by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Congratulations, Councilman. Now move to co-chair of the Resources
Mr.
Committee.
Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Dick Lay.
Second.
All right. We have a nomination and second for Councilman Lay.
Mr. Chair, I'll have to refuse that,
All
please.
right. He's declined the nomination.
And I'd like to nominate David Thornton.
Councilman Thornton. has
Mr.
been-
Chair, I'd like to refuse that nomination.
Councilman Thornton has refused.
I'd like the nomination for Frankie Hargis.
We have a nomination for Frankie Hargis, second by Councilman Gloria Jordan. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote on Councilman Hargis by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Congratulations. next item of business, item 2, resolution electing the office of Speaker for the Cherokee Nation Tribal Council.
I would like to make the nomination for Tina Glory Jordan with an amendment to this resolution. I need the last paragraph to read August of 2015 as the ending date.
We have a motion with an amended. We have a second by Councilman Walkingstick. The amendment would strike 2013 in the final paragraph and replace it with 2015. Is that correct, Councilwoman?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Mr. Hembry, where it's in the form of a resolution, how do we proceed?
An amendment?
No, not the amendment, but we have a resolution before us. Do we proceed differently than we did with the other?
No, it should be a blank. It's a blank resolution, and you take nominations as to the. It's the same process. Any additional nominations, and whoever gets the majority votes, names plugged into that resolution.
Okay. Councilwoman Cowan-Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Hembry, before you sit down, I think that our former speaker, Madam Fraley, or Councilwoman Fraley, recognized the constituent desire, what I felt like when we've discussed this at different times, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the constituents thought that a 4-year term when we have staggered term was a grab for power. And so this was a correction of that in order to keep it to where essentially we have a new council every 2 years, not every 4 years, because there's half of us that could potentially turn over, so that our leadership then would be acknowledged and reaffirmed or changed every 2 years as the council seated and the dynamics of the council changed. And I thought that was very intentional. And so they're offering an amendment, so we're mixing the decision of the leadership with also the honoring of the Constitution when they ask for an amendment on the floor to this resolution, which will significantly change what I think is the intent of the Constitution, the flavor of our government.
Well, it's a resolution, just like any piece of legislation, and it's been introduced, and it can be amended. And it can be amended by a majority vote. So the reasons that you brought up are policy reasons and reasons to vote in favor of the resolution or not.
Mr. Chairman, call for division.
Division would be proper.
Okay. Call for division. We take the amendment first, and then the...
I believe it's Ms. Cowan-Watts' intention to vote on the amendment of changing 2013 to 2015. Is that correct?
I would ask that that be brought out as a separate item before we vote on any personalities or individuals. I think that decision needs to be made.
Yeah. That is in order.
All right, all minds clear. We'll be voting on an amendment to this resolution to strike 2013, make it 2015. That is to say the term of the speaker would be through August 2015. I had Councilman Garvin next. So,
I was going to make another nomination if you're ready for it.
I think since we're in division, we would proceed with the amendment.
I nominate David Thornton for Speaker of the Council.
Second.
Okay, we have a nomination and a second, but Mr. Hembry, we do proceed with the amendment.
The vote should be on the division, which is the 2013-2015 question.
We're going to vote on the substance of that change.
Yes.
All right, Councilman Thornton.
I think this is important. The main thing is my service is to 2013. Therefore, in Hampshire, I may not be serving. So, myself, I think it ought to be every 2 years. But that's just me. But I think that would probably, if it goes to 15, it would eliminate me from this process, right?
Mr. Hembry, he's asked whether this would eliminate him from the process. As far as I'm concerned, it would just be a vacancy in the office of Speaker if he were to leave office in 2013.
That is correct. I mean, it would not disqualify you from running for Speaker. In order to be Speaker, you must be a member of the Tribal Council. And if you do not hold that position, you can't be Speaker. So, but if you were to elect it and then not become a Speaker or a Councilor in 2015, you would just resign the post. But no, it would not disqualify you from running for this office.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Coates.
I would just reiterate what Councilor Thornton said, that it's not only Councilor Thornton that would not be on this body potentially after that date, but it's half of this body that would not be on this body potentially after that date. And I think that Councilor Cowan Watt's point is very well taken, that in 2013 we don't know what the dynamics will be, and that it's an honorable thing, I think, to respect the vote of the people as to who they place onto this body, and what the sort of direction of policy that person represents on behalf of their constituents. And that does change, and that it's very likely that it will change in 2 years. It's likely it will change again 2 years after that, and 2 years after that. And this is something that I think that no matter what side of the aisle we sit on, so to speak, we could, each of us, in the positions that we hold, find ourselves in a position where the will of the majority of the people in the people that they have elected to represent them is not being reflected accurately. And for that reason, I just have concerns about this. I do, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say this is a grab for power, but I would say that it's not in the best interests of our constituents, and making sure that we have an accurate representation of their wish and their will.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilman Watkins.
Mr. Henry answered my question. Thank you.
Councilman Fishing.
I was going to ask Todd, in the past, has it always been 4 years?
Pardon me, ma'am?
Has it always been 4 years?
It's always been for the term of the person elected, but this is the first year that we've elected during a staggered term system. But again, it's whatever the will of the body is.
Okay, and it doesn't say 4 years in the Constitution?
No, it doesn't.
Or 2 years?
Got a question on his state.
Okay, Councilman Thornton.
Todd, if it's elected for the term of the person that's running, and we have people that are sitting here that ran for 6 years, and they're sitting on the board, so it's for their term, right? That's what you just got to say.
Yeah, in each...
Those people that are sitting here that was elected for 6 years, well then, they were elected as speaker or chair of a different committee. Then they were elected for that term. They should serve that 6 years.
Right. In the
ones that are sitting here have 2 more years to serve.
It is my opinion that at each council that you have a new system that's my opinion is that we're right to elect new officers at this stage in time. And if I'm understanding your question, okay, I believe that the body is right at this point to elect terms or elect offices to
Todd, is it a fair statement that the council possesses the right to elect its leadership? I don't know that we're tied constitutionally to a particular point in time. We're doing this as a resolution because it's the reflection of the will of the body. The Council of the Cherokee Nation in 3 years could exercise that right to change its leadership. Maybe we could have exercised it a year ago. I mean, I'm wondering if that's the case. I mean, we're setting into a resolution that will be 4 years. We change resolutions all the time. We change legislation all the time.
That is correct. The Constitution just says that the council shall elect a speaker and deputy speaker from its own membership to officiate over council meetings. That's the Constitution.
I think the framers left it to the council to determine how that would happen, and that's what we're in the midst of doing, is determining how that would happen. And it's good to have a debate about how long the term should be. I think it is appropriate that we do it now. It seems to be the will of the body to do it now. But in any case, we have the discussion on the amendment.
Call for question on the amendment.
Question's been called.
Just a point of clarification. Yes is we're for the amendment which changes it to 2015.
Yes is in favor of a speaker term 4 years of 2015. All right. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call.
Don Garvin,
Aye.
Frankie Hargis, Chuck Hoskins Jr.,
Yes.
Tana Gloria Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Kier,
No.
Dick Lay,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
No.
David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
No.
Bill England,
No.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Byrd,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
No.
Jody Fishing Hawk,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
No.
Janelle Fulbright.
Yes.
Ten yes and 7 no.
The amendment passes. All right, we'll now move back into nominations. We had a nomination and second for Councilwoman Gloria Jordan, and we had a nomination and second for Councilman Gordon. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll have a show of the body for Councilwoman Gloria Jordan.
Okay, I've got Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Gloria Jordan, Argus, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, and Walking Stick. That's 9.
All right, we'll have a show of the body for Councilman Gordon.
We have Fraley, Hittner, Garvin, Orton, Baker, Coates, Cowan Watts, and England. And that's 8.
Councilwoman Gloria Jordan has the majority. Congratulations to Speaker-designate Gloria Jordan. All right, we'll move on to Deputy Speaker.
I would like to nominate Chuck Hoskins Jr. as Deputy Speaker with an amendment to the resolution of the last paragraph to read August 15th as the ending date.
Seconded by Councilwoman Fulbright. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right. And for Deputy Speaker, by acclamation, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Next, we'll move to the position of Secretary. Any nominations for the position of Secretary?
My motion, Jody Fishing Hawk.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Byrd, Jody Fishing Hawk, and we have a second.
Second with a friendly.
Yes,
That we change the last paragraph of that resolution to also read August of 2015.
you accept, Councilman Byrd, you accept the friendly?
Yes.
All right, any other nominations? Councilwoman Watts.
Yeah, I have a nomination, but I also have a technical question. So, my technical question is it in the Constitution or somewhere else that this was supposed to be done every year?
In our rules and procedures.
Okay, so it would, to do that amendment, we'd have to amend the agenda to consider rules and procedures then, to amend that, to change it.
That is correct.
And rules and procedures are only considered at committee, not full council.
It's in the rules of procedure of a one-year term, and I would ask someone to get me a copy of the rules of procedure. I did not bring me a copy of it.
Would the resolution effectively amend the rules of procedure?
Oh, my God.
That is a governing document for this body.
We set up, the Constitution states that we will develop a system of rules and decorum, let me, where I hear it is. Okay. The council shall establish rules for credentials, decorum, and procedure. We have done that. And I believe that the rules of procedure states that the secretary of the council will serve at 1-year terms. The resolution. Right. Okay. Under Article 2, F, subsection 1, subsection C, Secretary of the Council. The Secretary of the Council shall be selected from the Council's membership. The Secretary shall initially be elected at the first regular meeting after the inauguration of the Council's 4-year term and shall serve an initial 1-year term. The Secretary shall then be elected by the Council in the October meeting and every year thereafter. That's the rules of procedure. Obviously, in October, we did not have a full set of counselors. This is the first month that we've had that. Your options are to elect a secretary for up till next October, or if you wanted to do a year, under the rules, it would go from January to January. If you wanted to expand it to a 4-year term, Ms. Cowden-Watts is correct. You would need to amend the agenda to bring the rules of procedures on board.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Let me amend my friendly to reflect from January of 2012 to January of 2013. That'd be 1 year.
Yeah. Would be October 2012 for this term.
Well, it says a 1-year term, and this is because of the dynamics of this election year, which is unlike one we've never had, and hopefully we'll never have another one like it here. I believe it would be proper for the council to elect to a 1-year term. It would begin today, and it would end a year, next January. That would be my opinion.
It would end next January. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and it has to go through full council approval.
Yeah. You're saying that the term would end in January of 2013? 13.
That's the will, December 12th.
All right. So, Councilwoman, your nomination for Councilwoman Fishing Hawk with the amendment that it was a friendly to Councilman Burns that it be now February 2012 through January 2013. And that's your motion with the amendment. And Councilwoman Cowden-Watts, did you have a nomination?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to nominate Councilman David Thornton from Sequoia County, please.
All right. Councilman Thornton nominated. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Coates. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll have a show of the body for Councilwoman Fishing Hawk.
I have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, and Waffles. 9 votes.
Show of the body for Councilman Thornton.
I have Riley, Keener, Garvin, Thornton, Baker, Anglin, Coates, and Cowan-Watts. 3. And that's 8 votes.
Councilman Fishing Hawk has a majority. Congratulations, Councilman Fishing Hawk. Yes, Councilman Gordon.
Just a point of clarification. We generally, at this time, select our advisory members for C&D and housing. I would ask that we go ahead and consider doing that at this time so that we get all this done at one time.
Are you making a motion to amend the agenda?
Yes, I would make that in the form of a motion to amend the agenda to include the selection of advisory members to CMB and housing.
We have a second by Councilman Fishing-Hawk. Yes, Councilman Thorpe.
I'd like to make a motion that all councilors be advisors to the CNB board. If you want to go, you can go. If you don't, you don't, but you're still an advisor.
We have a motion on the floor, and are you offering a friendly to that? Or
Point of order.
You have a motion on the floor to select.
Oh, I see.
Don't you?
That's right.
What you have?
I see. You're correct. But I have a question for Mr. Hembry. Proceed.
Did
Oh,
you
the motion
call?
on the floor is to amend the agenda. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll make the motion, change it. Yeah.
Yes, the motion on the floor is to amend the agenda. It requires a two-thirds vote in committee to do so, and it will...
Is that a two-thirds vote in committee?
It is. It is. On any agenda, it takes a two-thirds vote.
All those in favor of amending the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, the agenda is amended. I didn't ask you, Councilwoman, where you wanted that, but I assume you want it next since we're in the midst of
Yes.
electing officers. Okay. Todd, refresh my memory on the CNB board. How many advisory board members do we have, and by what authority?
I'm shooting from the hip here. I believe there are 3 advisory board members on CMB. Is that is that correct?
No.
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 6? Okay. It was 3. I've been around here too long. I remember the old rule. 6. And do we even still have, we don't even do CNI anymore. Yeah. It's just 6. When it all went consolidated, that's right. We did have 3 per board. When it all got consolidated to CMB, it went to a total of 6. If you're correct. I remember now.
Okay, we have 6 spots. Councilwoman Woodward.
I would make a motion that we have 8, which is less than a quorum, which would allow as many as can to be advisory members.
We have a motion to expand it to 8. We have a second by Councilwoman Cowan Watts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, we have 8 slots to fill. Open the floor for nominations.
Make the motion that our Chuck Hoskins Jr. be on the board.
Second.
Any other nominations? Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to nominate Cherokee Watts.
Second. Wait a minute. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, second by
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
forgive me, sir. For clarification for me, is this for one spot only each time?
Yeah, I guess this is 1 seat at a time. That's correct. All right, so for the first seat, we have 2 nominations. We'll lean on our council as long as
Well,
we
you're
have.
making me work today, aren't you? We need to find out if there are more than 8 who wish to be on the board. So therefore, in a system like this, I would say let's self-nominate ourselves. Let's see who wants to be on the advisory board of members and count them up and see what we're at. Geez, we got almost all of them. And please take these names down. Announce them when you.
We have Fraley, Keener, Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, Baker, Cowan Watts. Did I get everybody? We have 12.
Opposed? Nominees for 8 slots,
He's got to be present.
we do, yes.
I would call for a division of the question and each spot be voted on separately.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. How do we do this? I'll take suggestions.
Division of the question, each one has to be done separate.
Yeah.
Not concerned that, so part of it is, the only thing that's, because as council people, with fiduciary responsibility in the tribe, we have every right to be there, regardless of whether there's an advisory board or not. So the only thing that's even an issue concerning the numbers is compliance with the Open Meeting Act, which it's already a public meeting. We have no voting power. We wouldn't be taking and conducting business there. We provide input. So I'm alarmed that we would even limit the people that were duly elected by the constituents of the Cherokee Nation from participating in one of our most critical activities as responsible for the tribe.
Well, you're right to a certain extent. That it is a public meeting for the most part, and any Cherokee citizens is welcome to attend a CMB meeting until it goes into proprietary information or executive session. I would recommend that it would stay at a total of less than a quorum, because inevitably, if a quorum gets together, especially at a meeting at CMB, you're going to be discussing the business of the Cherokee Nation. And I would hate to see that used as a subterfuge to bypass our Open Meetings Act. I do believe that any person, any councilor, any citizen of the Cherokee Nation can attend, but I do believe we need to have some safeguards in there that if a quorum were to manifest, that quorum would need to be broken.
Councilwoman Coates?
Following up on that, then, I guess my question would be, if we elect 8 people to officially be advisory board members, would that mean that if even one more counselor came to the meeting not in that capacity, but simply to be there, then suddenly we would have a quorum? And so that would be very limiting to others of us who might be interested. And as myself, I have attended these meetings a long time without being an advisory board member, just out of interest and wanting to stay aware of what's going on. But if we've got fully 8 who are officially on the advisory board, then I would not really be able to do that any longer. Would that be correct, without constituting a quorum?
That would be correct.
And if that's the case, then I would suggest that maybe we move this back down to 6 or something, if that's because this really actually prohibits other people on the council from being there, even though they might be interested.
And that's a good policy question, but I will stand fast that no more than 8 can get together outside of a public meeting, period. Whether that be at a CMB meeting, especially at a CMB meeting. You all may attend the Kid Rock concert, as long as you don't discuss the business of the Cherokee Nation. But it is imperative to use every safeguard to make sure that a quorum is not present when discussing the business of the Cherokee Nation.
Councilwoman Kendall-Watts.
Mr. Thornton, our colleague, is back in the room. I didn't know if he wanted to be on the advisory board or not and self-nominate as the rest of us have.
Councilman Thornton, we got a show of hands a while ago if we wanted to be on the advisory board while you were out of the room, so his hand is up.
And with that, I'd make a motion to table till next month, because I think there's too many critical issues to be decided right now.
Second.
We have a motion to table. All in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, let's have a roll call.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
No.
Tom Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis,
No.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
No.
Hannah Glory Jordan,
No.
Lee Keener,
Yes.
Dick Lay,
No.
Curtis Snell,
No.
David Thornton,
No.
David Walking-Stick, Kara Callan Watts,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Joe Byrd,
No.
Julia Coates.
Yes.
7 yes and 10 no.
Motion table fails. I had Mr. Garvin down, actually.
I was just going to nominate David, he was out of the room.
Very good, very good. Councilman Woodward?
Again, I would ask that we start with position 1 and do each one of them individually, and I would nominate for that position 1, Chuck Hoskins Jr.
Second. So we have a second, and we had some nominations earlier. I think Councilwoman Count Watts had already been nominated for, but we are, just all minds are clear. As chair, I agree, we're going to move this slot by slot. Was there a nomination for Councilman Count Watts for the first slot?
That was Councilman
No,
England.
I made that motion earlier.
Got it.
Seconded by
All
Kara.
right. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, we'll have a show of the body for Councilman Hoskin.
For one of the 8 votes.
Then we have, okay. This is for Hoskins, or, okay. Fraley, Keener, Garvin, Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Tyler Jordan, Argus, Snell, Byrd, Hoskin Jr.,
Point of order.
Thornton.
There's still confusion.
About what the process is
Is
here,
it
that what we're
yes,
doing.
Chuck,
Yeah.
no, Chuck, then yes, Kara, no, Kara?
Well, we're
Or is
proceeding. We're proceeding as we did with the chairs and co-chairs. There was an absence of guidance on another way to do it. But I see Mr. Henry has risen, so
This is what I would recommend, ladies and gentlemen, that we go by the same process that we just elected the chairs and co-chairs. We're going to take a total of 8 votes, that the nominations for each position be open for as many people as they want. All 12, all 13 could be nominated for position 1, and again, we eliminate the lower seated people until one person gets 9. The next person, the next slot gets open, the other 12 can be nominated until you get each position filled. There's no limit to the amount of times a person can be nominated for each position.
and that's how we were proceeding on that vote. But I do understand there was some confusion, and in fairness, I want to make sure that all minds were clear. And so I want to recognize Councilman Coates before we proceed further.
I would just suggest that sounds like an extremely confusing and extremely time-consuming process to do this, and that we have, 13 people who have put their hats into the ring here, basically. If we could just put those names up, each of us picks 8 and votes on them, then we can do it in a much quicker time fashion.
Is the councilwoman suggesting that there be nominations by slate?
By
essentially-
slate. Well, I don't know if by slate, but if just put the 13 up and just go down one by one, and whoever the top 8 vote getters are at the end of the day are in. We can all look at the names. We can all pick the 8 that we want to vote for. Everybody gets only 8 votes.
Let me use my roll call sheet and put each person nominated up here in the title. Hand these out to everybody, then we can add them up.
Let them mark their votes.
And then we can announce it and put a tally.
Secret ballot. I do too. A position makes it clear.
As long as we're in some brief debate on procedure, which I'm happy to entertain. Does anyone else want to weigh in on that? I appreciate Councilwoman's suggestions. Councilwoman Woodward.
Again, I'm asking for division of the question. I want each position voted on individually.
We're going to proceed voting on each seat individually. That's the ruling of the chair.
We voted on the first seat a while ago, but there was some confusion. So we're going to take that vote again. In the first slot, the nominees were Hoskin and Count Watts. So we're going to have a show of the body for Hoskin.
I have Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Glory Jordan, Hargis, Snell, Bird, Hoskin Jr., Lay, and Walking Stick.
We'll show
And that's 9.
we'll show the body for Councilwoman Count Watts.
I have Fraley, Keener, Garvin, Thornton, Cowan Watts.
She's not even there.
She's not in there? Okay. England, Baker, and Coates. That's 7 votes.
Majority to Hoskin for seat 1.
I would like to make a nomination for Tana Glory Jordan for seat 2.
All right, seat 2, Tanya Glory Jordan. Do we have a second? Second by Councilwoman Hargis. Any other nominations for seat 2? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, Councilwoman Glory Jordan by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
And one opposed. Councilwoman Coates.
I would like to make a nomination for Joe Bird.
We have a nomination for Councilman Byrd and a second by Councilman Walkenstick. Any other nominations for seat 3? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none. Councilman Byrd by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call.
Bill England,
No.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Bird,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
No.
Jody Fishing Hawk.
Yes.
Meredith Fraley.
No.
Janelle Fulbright.
Yes.
Don Garvin.
No.
Frankie Hargis.
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Yes.
Tana Glory Jordan.
Yes.
Lee Keener Jr.
No.
Dick Lay.
Yes.
Curtis Snell.
Yes.
David Thornton.
Yes.
David Walking
Yes.
Stick. Kara Cowan Watts.
No.
We have 10 to 7. 10 yes and 7 no.
All right. Councilman Byrd, congratulations. All right. Any other nominations? Seat 4, Councilman Lloyd Jordan.
I'd like to nominate Jody Fishing Hawk.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Snell. Any other nominations for seat 4? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, Councilwoman Fishing Hawk by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
2,
Aye.
3, no. 1 Coates and Watts. Nominations for seat 5.
I'd like to nominate Frankie Hargis.
We have a nomination for Frankie Hargis. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Lloyd Jordan. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, Councilman Hargis by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
3 no. Watts, England, and Coates.
I'd like to nominate Curtis Snell.
We have a nomination of Curtis Snell, second by Councilman Hargis. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, Councilman Snell by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I would like to nominate Janelle Latimer Fulbright for the 7th seat.
Second.
All right, second by Councilman Lloyd Jordan. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, Councilwoman Fulbright by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
And for the 8th seat, I'd like to nominate Dick Lay.
Nomination for Dick Lay by Councilwoman Fishing Hawk, seconded by Councilwoman Hargis. Any other nominations? This is the final seat. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All those in favor say aye by acclamation.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, we have next the advisory board for housing.
Councilwoman Jordan, you had amended to add this. How many seats do we have on the housing board?
There were 3.
3 seats. Okay. All right, we'll proceed in the same fashion. Nominations for the first of 3 seats for the housing board. Councilwoman Harris.
Nominate Mr. Snell.
Mr. Snell.
I will second that.
I have a second. Any other nominations for the first seat? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Councilman Snell, by acclamation, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I'd like to nominate Jody Fishenhop for the 2nd position.
Second by Councilwoman Hargis for Councilwoman Fishinghawk. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, by acclamation, all those in favor of Councilwoman Fishinghawk for seat 2 say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Nomination for the 3rd seat.
Make a motion on it. Thank you, Hargis.
Second.
All right, second by Councilman Lay. Any other nominations for the 3rd and final seat? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Vote by acclamation. All those in favor of Councilman Hargis say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We move now to item 5. This will be a resolution confirming the nomination of M. Todd Hembry as Attorney General for the Cherokee Nation. Well,
I'd like to make a motion. Mr. Speaker.
we have a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Yes, Madam Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my very deep pleasure to present to this body the nomination of Mr. Hembry as Attorney General. When he told me of his nomination, I couldn't have been more happy. As many of you know, having had him as your attorney for a number of years, he is the real deal. He is neither a Johnny-come-lately Cherokee nor a Johnny-come-lately Cherokee lawyer. He is very knowledgeable. I had the pleasure of serving with him in the 1999 Constitution Convention. Our nation and our laws are very near and dear to his heart, and I fully endorse him and would ask you to approve this nomination.
Well, thank you, Madam Attorney General. That endorsement carries a lot of weight with every member of this body, and I'm very proud to be a sponsor. I suspect any number of us would be sponsors, and I first met Mr. Hembry in 1999 at the Constitution Convention as well, and I was impressed then and remain impressed to this day. The only thing I have to say, with a little bit of mixed feelings, is we hate to lose him, because it really is a blow to the institution. Now, we will recover. We will have someone take his place, but it's hard to replace him. But it's a net gain for the Cherokee Nation that Mr. Hembry has agreed to accept the nomination for Attorney General. And I feel very proud that someone from this body, associated with this body, is going to represent us as Attorney General. And we have a number of council members that want to speak. But Mr. Hembry, would you like to say a few words before we proceed?
Do we move to approve?
I think we already had a motion to approve, but Shelley will correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Todd Hembry. I am a Cherokee citizen, originally from Greasy, Oklahoma, southern Adair County, now residing in Tahlequah, which is within the jurisdictional boundaries of the Cherokee Nation. All day today, it has been a bittersweet day. I first came to this body as the attorney in 1999, and I am proud to have played a small part in building up this institution, this separate, independent, and equal branch of government. I've dedicated the majority of my professional career to it, and let me tell you, it doesn't matter what office I hold in the Cherokee Nation, or if I hold no office in the Cherokee Nation. I will always be a strong, stern defender of this legislative branch. And thank you for the opportunity to have served as your counsel for the last 12 years. And I look forward to serving the Cherokee Nation in a broader role if given that opportunity. And I would appreciate your support for confirmation.
Well put, Mr. Hembry. We appreciate your service. Mr. Garvin, I had you down.
Okay, I want to say thank you for Todd, all his work. He's been a real trooper, and we've worked side by side since, I guess, 99 or 2000. And what I like about Todd, he's able to take both sides. He can take the affirmative or the negative and do a real good job at it. And a lot of times he'd forget what I was saying, and I'd have to remind him.
He would
change
remind me.
hats and go back to work. But my main question is, I don't quite understand how a person could come from Greasy and go to South Bend. I think it's about 12,000 miles. I don't understand that at all.
Well, I tell you what, it's 12 hours and 45 minutes from Greasy to South Bend if you cut through Ginger Blue, Missouri, and then catch the interstate from there.
How did you happen to?
Well, it was an interesting story. I attended Northeastern State University and knew I wanted to go to law school, but I knew I wanted to take a little break. So my first job as a tax-paying adult was with the Cherokee Nation. I was part of the summer youth internship. I'm sure Diane Kelly will take credit for everything that I've done from that point forward. I fell in love with the place then, and I knew I'd be coming back after that. And I wanted to go to the most successful or the best law school that I could get into, and I got lucky on the LSAT. But I can tell you that no general store owner from Greasy is going to be able to afford Notre Dame. So fortunately, I got the American Indian Fellowship that enabled me, that gave me the opportunity to go to any school that I wanted to. And Notre Dame was that school. It is a good moral background. I fell in love with that place also. And that also instilled in me a sense of duty that I had to especially the Cherokee tribe, but all Native tribes, because had it not been for that scholarship, I still would have went to law school, but I don't think I would have been as successful as I was able to do. And I have a debt that I try to repay and will continue to repay for service to my people, because it was because I was Cherokee that gave me that opportunity, and I've never forgotten it.
One follow-up. I don't remember the exact year that Notre Dame beat OU, broke their...
That was 1957. I'll tell you that. And we will have the opportunity to do it again this fall.
The Secretary will strike that last one. Councilwoman Cowan-Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of questions for
I'm
you.
ready.
How, on your implementation of Indian Child Welfare, will you protect all citizens equally to the Cherokee Nation, regardless of their appearance or background or blood quantum?
Absolutely. The federal, the Indian Child Welfare Act is a federal act, and Ms. Hammond spoke to it eloquently earlier today, for the protection of Indian children and Indian families. And as a federal law, as any other law, or Cherokee law, I will fully and faithfully execute that. But also, litigation is like a battlefield. And battlefields have different terrain and different circumstances that you have to consider. And just like in litigation, the facts are different for each case. As to the Indian child welfare, and I'll say it again, words mean things. And the most important word in Indian child welfare is children. My administration will always look to the final question of what is the best interest of this child. And that's what I'll follow in my heart. But I will fully and faithfully execute the law.
That is in balance with the need, long-term sustainability and need culturally of our tribal community,
Sure.
of course, right?
Absolutely.
Now, on the how how do you stand with respect to our sovereignty on the 2003 or 99 Constitution?
Well, my position on that is quite clear. I've spoke on it. I've written on it. Later on today, I hope to have the opportunity to place my hand on the Bible and swear to defend the Constitution of the Cherokee Nation. And let there be no doubt or mistake that that Constitution is the 1999 Constitution. Let me give you reasons why. First of all, it was developed by the Cherokee people at a legally called Constitutional Convention, to which I was fortunate enough to be a part of, and several people in this body were fortunate to be part of. Secondly, it was approved by a vote of the Cherokee people at a legally called election without any objections thereto. And third, it had been implemented and confirmed by our Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. And that's good enough for me. And I intend to enforce the laws of the Cherokee Nation and defend this Constitution. And now you know unequivocally what I feel on that issue.
And I appreciate hearing that. I can't hear that enough, because I think all of us seated at this table should be defending that same Constitution. Also, with regards to our sovereignty, the ongoing issues with the United Kituwa Band, I think we struggle with this because they're Cherokee citizens off of our DAWS rolls, and how we balance those issues, although they be federally recognized, the issues where they try to lessen our sovereignty as the Cherokee Nation. Can you speak to that?
Sure. First, I have nothing but respect and admiration for our Kituwa brothers and sisters. We are the same people. We share the same culture. We share the same history, the same language. We even share the same families. You will find families who are Kituwa and who are Cherokee, members of the Cherokee, citizens of the Cherokee Nation. There is absolutely no reason why we cannot work together for the betterment of all Cherokees. And I truly believe that. Now, as to the land and trust issue, I helped craft an act that is passed by this body and signed by the principal chief that, under my interpretation of law, federal law, and many others, that in order for any tribe to gain land and trust in any other tribe's jurisdiction, you must get the consent of that tribe in order to do so. We passed a law that says that consent of the Cherokee Nation can only be given by 2/3 vote of this body. So therefore, if the United Kituwa Band is to receive trust, land in the trust, we're going to have a conference of the people sitting here. Again, that's a law of the Cherokee Nation, and I intend to enforce it.
What about their assertion of jurisdiction within our jurisdiction in other manners, such as law enforcement and other things,
well,
gaming?
You know, there are a myriad of issues: gaming, law enforcement, grant applications, administration of programs, and I'll refer to my earlier statement. There's no reason why we can't work together and to promote the welfare of all Cherokee people. Again, it is a designation of the dominant government, the United States government, that says that we are separate. But we really aren't. We're the same. And we need to work through our issues and cooperate together. And I will help facilitate that. But rest assured that my loyalty and the enforcement of the Cherokee laws is the number one on my priority list.
So, what about the sale of our water? Would you support the sale of our water to outside interests, either the state of Oklahoma or the state of Texas?
The assertion of our water rights is going to be one of the biggest and most major challenges to our government in the coming years. Water is the new gold, especially here in the Southwest United States and Midwest United States. Water is valuable. We must stringently defend our water rights at every corner and in every court, whether it be in Texas, whether it be in Oklahoma City, whether it be in our courts in the Cherokee Nation. Do I support the sale of our water? I think the key word is our water. We need to determine and we need to defend the right that that is our valuable resource and that it is up to our government how we deal with it, not anyone else.
Okay, I have one two-part question left. So in determining use of outside counsel, could you describe to me a little bit about how you would, your decision-making process and thorough compliance, as well as how you would keep our billing costs down?
Well, first of all, I intend to do as much as possible in-house. We have budgets for outside counsel, and under the Attorney General's Act, I am to be the person that will determine what, if any, outside counsel we'll use. We have a staff of very competent attorneys, especially in the water resource business. That we have literally some nation leaders in that regard. I guess you can call this bragging on myself, but I can try a case. And I intend to do as much in-house as possible to save Cherokee people's money as much as I can. Now, as to TARO compliance, I'll tell you, I'm not TARO certified. But I am a Cherokee lawyer, and I always will be. I will use, if I have to use outside counsel, I will use the best available. And when I do, I will make sure that I go over their billing statements, that all costs are necessary and reasonable, and that's the best I can do. But if I can do it in-house, I'm going to do it in-house.
Mr. Hembree, your service to us has, I'm sure, been entertaining for you at times. And herding cats is always a challenge, and I think you've done that well. And I appreciate your service to me and my role and to this body and to the Cherokee people, and I wish you well as you move forward as Attorney General of the Cherokee Nation, assuming my colleagues also vote the same way I'm going to vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Garvin? Councilman Garvin? Did you
No,
say
I was
yours?
through. I had my questions for you.
All right, sorry. Frank, Councilman Hargis.
I just want to say congratulations. I'm sure this is going to pass. And Todd and I met when we were 12 years old, and he was passionate about the law then, and I'm sure he's even more so now. And I'd like to call for the question.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more council members on our list. It is important that we keep it brief, but I think it's important that we try to move through. And I do want to let people say their piece and ask the questions. So time is short. We've got still a long agenda. So I would just ask the remaining ones, just so you know, I have Councilman Keener, Coates, Walking Stick, Speaker Fraley, and Councilman Baker on the list. So, Councilman Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd, I just want to say congratulations, and you're so fond of saying words mean something.
They do.
And so do actions, and I've seen you in action, and I appreciate what you've done for us, and thank you for helping me as I came on board. And we've had numerous discussions about different topics, and you've always been a good source of quality opinion and information. So wish you the best on this move.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't want those conversations to end. Seriously, part of the duties of the Attorney General is to provide advice to drafting the legislation and any matters that involve. Although I'm going into a different role, this council is part of the Cherokee Nation. You all are part of the Cherokee Nation, and I want to continue that relationship. And you have my cell phone number. And you always will. And so please do not hesitate to use it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilman Coates.
I think that Councilor Cowan Watts asked Mr. Hembree most of the questions I was going to ask. There's only one other that I would ask, and that is that in 2007 the Cherokee citizens voted to define citizenship criteria a certain way. We have been in court ever since, and even before that vote, actually. And I think the question I guess I want to pose to you is that do we have your assurance that you will carry this forward in the federal courts, representing the desires of the Cherokee people themselves and through their votes in the years ahead to enact to the greatest degree possible their wishes?
Well, the simple answer is yes. I mean, the litigation surrounding the construction of the 1866 treaty, which I will say some of my ancestors helped negotiate, has cost the Cherokee Nation millions of dollars. We have expended a great amount of political capital in this issue. It has even brought into question in some circles our government-to-government relationship with the United States. It is critically important for this issue to be resolved once and for all. We have availed ourselves to the federal court, the Northern District of Oklahoma. I believe that the most expedient way to get this issue resolved in my lifetime is to have that case tried on the merits. We have, to use a golf vernacular, teed it up. Let's try the case and live by the court's decision. That is I will listen to all parties and all opinions, but I'll tell you that's mine.
I think it's one that we all agree that we will abide by the court's decisions on these. I hope there is no one at this table who would do otherwise. So I very much appreciate that response.
Councilman Washington. Thank you, Councilman Washington.
I hate you, buds. So, you're a good man, Todd.
Farewell.
Yeah.
Au revoir, let's say.
Yeah.
Madam Speaker.
For a while. Todd, you've been around for a while, and you've been through a lot with the council, etc. In the years ahead, what do you consider is going to be our biggest challenge?
I only have to pick one because there's several, and we've talked about them.
Which one prevails in your mind?
I think water rights is going to be the most important issue for the sustainable history of the Cherokee Nation. There is no doubt that water is the new gold. As population centers such as we're talking about Dallas now or Oklahoma City, their infrastructure is at a breaking point. And if they're going to expand, they're going to need the most basic resource that there is, which isn't gold, it's water. I believe that the Cherokee Nation owns a great amount of water in the state of Oklahoma that predates the formation of the state. I believe to be a very strong supporter and enforcer of these rights. And it's not going to be easy, folks. I mean, when we, the Choctaws and the Chickasaws are already there, asserting their rights. We have just been on the outside of the state of Oklahoma Tyson litigation. It may be time that we're on the inside of that. I do believe that we are going to need to be. The council is the stewards of the Cherokee Nation. I will be the steward of the legal rights of the Cherokee Nation, and I believe one of our most important rights at this point is water.
I wanted that to be brief, Chairman Austin, but...
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know who you're dealing with.
I can't say hello in less than 30 minutes.
Thank you.
All right. And Councilor Baker?
Yes, I also met Todd at the 99 Constitutional Convention. I appreciate all of his input there, and I appreciate all the work you've done for the council, especially since I've been on it the last 5 years.
Thank you.
And I would like to be added as a sponsor, please.
Very good. Councilman Baker, sponsor. All right. Councilman
I'd like to be added as well, please. Thank you.
I would also.
Let's have a show of hands of who wants to sponsor.
Gee, we kind of everybody listening to each other.
So now let's vote it down.
Councilwoman Vision.
Well, I'm kind of like Frankie. I don't know when I didn't know you because of our families.
Sure.
And I think my family was as proud of you as your mom said she was as proud of me when I go on council. And my family is very proud of you.
Well, let me tell you, your mother has reason to be proud, and I believe my mother has reason to be proud. So.
They both think that.
All right. All right. Councilwoman Gloria George?
Yes. I just wanted to say, Todd, we appreciate your opinions that over the years you've given us on the council. I, for one, have always tried to follow your legal advice. I have a deep amount of respect for you. I knew you before the 99 convention that we served on. And I'm proud to be a sponsor on your behalf.
Thank you very much.
We will proceed to the vote by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Congratulations. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 6. It's a resolution authorizing a memorandum of agreement between the Cherokee Nation and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Councilwoman Fulbright, would you like to present? I'm sorry, you see what's wrong.
I'm not leaving.
It's already been. Would you withdraw this item? It appears it's already been passed. Okay. Councilman
Chair, I do have a question on this resolution in regard to the memorandum of agreement. Can we open it up for discussion, or is it already withdrawn?
You know, I believe it's been withdrawn, but did you have a question for one of the staff?
No, I've got a question for Todd.
He's on the payroll.
Yeah, the applicable laws refer to the federal laws, and contract claims and disputes will be resolved according to federal law. What I'm concerned about is, do we need a partial waiver in regard to these particular clauses?
Well, Mr. Hembry's back in the room. Mr. Hembry, we have a motion. We have an item that's being withdrawn, but the speaker has a question about it. I wonder if just briefly you could address it.
Absolutely.
Because time is very short.
Yes.
Under the applicable laws and also contract claims and disputes that says shall be resolved in accordance with federal law and the terms of the individual contract. Do we need a partial waiver on this? Do you consider it necessary, particularly in regard to contracts?
If we're availing ourselves to the federal jurisdiction, yeah, I believe that I would be on an abundance of caution to do that. But this matter's being tabled?
Yeah, and if I could interject, Mr. Hembry, you would come back to us, obviously, before any waiver was executed.
Absolutely.
That was my way.
Yes. But thank you for bringing that to my attention, and I will flag it.
All right, this item was withdrawn by Councilwoman Fulbright, so we'll proceed to item number 7 from Councilman Thornton, an act amending LA 2105, the FOIA Act, setting forth disclosure requirements, declaring an emergency. Councilman Thornton is not in the room. Councilman Cameron.
I know this is maybe unusual, but I actually talked to him about this act, and I was going to ask to be added as a sponsor, something that he and I agreed on. Can I just bring it forward? And
certainly.
I don't know that it's controversial, so I'd make a motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Move to item number 8, act amending Title 63 of the Code, Legislative Act 2208, relating to sex offender registration notification. Councilwoman Karen Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd asked Chrissy Nemo, who's one of the staff attorneys for the AG's office, has done an incredible amount of work, along with other folks, to come forward, make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have one question for her.
Okay, Councilwoman Lloyd Jordan, did you have a...
If we could, I'd like to make a motion to table.
Mr. Chair?
We have a motion to table.
I have the floor.
We have a motion to table, which takes precedence over the discussion.
I still had the floor, though, so she would have had to interrupt me to table. I was trying to get your attention, but you weren't paying attention over this way, so.
All right, well, we have a motion on the floor. It's a motion to table. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, let's take a roll call.
Bill England,
No.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Byrd,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk, Meredith Bailey,
No.
Janelle Fulbright, Don Garvin,
No.
Frankie Hargis,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Hannah Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Lay,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton, David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts.
No.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 9 yes and 7 no.
Okay. The item's tabled to next month. We have item number 8, Act amending Title 63, amending Legislative Act 2208 relating to sex offender registration and notification. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me. We're on 9. Act amending Legislative Act 2008 relating to sex crimes and other crimes against the person. Councilman Cherokee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we have Chrissy come up, there is a considerable amount of work that's been done. The Department of Justice is expecting these changes. They're very simple. They've been in front of this body for 10 days. There's even a summary to help those that may have difficulty reading to understand what's in front of them. So why we're tabling all these, I do not understand. I would make a motion to approve because we have real issues with sex offenders out there in our community right now, threatening potentially new victims or old victims, and they have the right to know. And we need to make these technical issues. So I have a motion to approve today.
Second.
Motion to approve. Second. Councilwoman Lloyd Jordan.
Motion table.
Motion table takes precedence over the motion to approve. So we'll vote on the motion to table. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, here's the motion. Here's the item is tabled. All right, we have the agenda was amended to include a new item coming out of the impeachment subcommittee. I would entertain a motion to approve that legislation, which is in hard copy before you. Yes?
I would make the motion to approve.
All right, let's have a motion to approve, a second by Councilwoman Hargis. Just briefly, this came out of the impeachment subcommittee unanimously. The red line changes, or the changes that came about from Councilman Watts, Councilman Keener, Councilman England. The blue changes are the ones that were added in committee. Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We need our attorney, because he's technically still our attorney, and there's a number of questions about how this might conflict with the Whistleblowers Act and definitions and enforceability and how you define the line for a number of these. Like, for example, on incompetency, if people don't read their books every month before they vote on something, I would consider that incompetency. So, is that... So we're on the Impeachment Act, and the red lines, there was no technical changes in terms of content other than we moved from the 75 Constitution to the 99-2003 Constitution. So the blue lines are those the work that came out of subcommittee. So like on F, if they add incompetency, it says lack of ability, legal qualification, or fitness to discharge a required duty. Does that mean we're going to have literacy tests or minimum requirements to be on council? I didn't understand some of these definitions in what the legal definition, the line that would be drawn, how they would determine it, you would enforceability.
Well, many of these terms are subjective in nature, and the terms that were gleaned we looked at a myriad of legal definitions. Are they perfect? No, but they're subjective. And how are they enforced? Well, they are meant to give the trier of fact, which would be the tribal council, some type of guidance in determining what incompetency is. Obviously there are varying degrees of incompetency, but the incompetency meant to be so derelict in your abilities as to not to perform the essential functions of your job, well, that comes down to the trier of the fact, which will be the tribal council.
Okay, so then on this, willful neglect on that section and such, and frivolous allegations, does that almost put a damper on the ability, if our constituents come to us and they say, well, this council person, defrauding the tribe or has misused assets or, maybe done things with absentee ballots or whatever that is, does that mean that suddenly we're more liable than a normal citizen under the Whistleblowers Act if we have to? Because I think we're obligated, number one, to bring anything forward for it to be vetted if there's some accusation and they're specific.
I would disagree with you. You are not under a duty to bring anything forward to be vetted. Impeachment is an extremely serious matter. And if you're going to bring that forward, you need to have more than just mere accusations.
I'm talking about that point where you get something, because it's not clear in here, not the impeachment proceedings, that looks like a 2/3 trigger. But if you have an issue that's brought forward, you have to hand that over to the AG or the Marshal Service and let them investigate, because we're not an investigative body.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but the way I read this, they're almost, the subcommittee's work almost penalizes council people who make sure that the citizens' voice is heard and that there's consideration of action.
Well, the intent is definitely not to be a damper on it, but I believe the intent is to have more than mere allegations. And again, in my new role as Attorney General, if you guys don't change your mind in the next couple hours, I will listen to all concerns. However, in order for an investigation to carry on, and I believe I would speak for Marshal Buell in this instance, is that there needs to be evidence, and evidence means, affidavits, testimony, documentation, in order to bring this forward. What the intent is, and Chairman Hoskin can speak further, but the intent is to put a damper on frivolous allegations. And because once you start an impeachment process, even though it may have little or no merit, well, the headline is going to be impeachment process started. That's what I believe the intent of the subcommittee was to avoid, is that treat this for what it is, which is an extremely important and serious affair.
Would the councilwoman yield for a response from the chair?
Well, what I was going to ask for is, I think that I'd like the opportunity to visit with him in his role as AG after this, and with you, because you led the subcommittee for us, right? Outside of this meeting, and maybe table it for next month, so have an opportunity to be.
We have a
Move to table.
Do we have a motion to table floor? Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Let's have a roll call vote.
Tanya Glory Jordan,
No.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Lay, Curtis Snell,
No.
David Thornton, David Walkingstick, Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill Anglin,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Joe Byrd,
No.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright, Don Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis,
No.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
No.
and Dick Lay.
No.
We have 6 yes and 9 no.
All right, motion to table fails. Any further discussion? And let me make a brief comment. There might be a fundamental misunderstanding. Impeachment law has never been and will never be about whether a council member can bring a potential crime or misdeed to the attention of law enforcement officials or the Attorney General. It never has been, and it never will be, if we stay consistent with history. The issue here is what is impeachable, what rises to the level of impeachment, and what are the mechanisms in place to trigger impeachment. So even if this law weren't to pass, any member of this body, if they suspected some wrongdoing, they would do what you would do if you were a citizen that wasn't holding elected office. You would take it to a law enforcement official. The issue here is what should constitute impeachment and what should trigger that process. The legislation that passed out of the subcommittee sets forth a procedure in which you can make an allegation, you sign off on an allegation, and that triggers a process that could ultimately lead to impeachment. And it does discourage frivolous allegations of impeachment, as it should, because impeachment ought to be limited to the most serious of offenses that warrants throwing aside an election, throwing aside the right of the people to recall an official, and immediately taking action to remove an elected official from office. That is all this has ever been about.
And again, allegations of misconduct can always be brought to the attention of law enforcement, whether this act passes or not. Any other discussion? All right, we'll have a vote. All those in favor of...
It is an act.
It is an act. Okay, so by roll call. All right. In favor of the act, say, yeah, in favor of the act.
Jody Fishinghot?
Yes.
Meredith Riley?
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright?
Yes.
Ron Garvin?
Yes.
Frankie Hargis?
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.?
Yes.
Tana Gloria Jordan?
Yes.
Lee Keener?
Yes.
Dick Clay?
Yes.
Curtis Snell?
Yes.
David Thornton? David Walkingstick?
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts?
Abstain.
Bill Anglin?
Yes.
Jack Baker?
Yes.
Joe Byrd?
Yes.
Julia Coates?
Yes.
We have 15 yes, 1 not in the room, and 1 abstention.
All right. We'll now move to announcements. Any announcements? Next meeting, February 23rd at 1 p.m. Adjourn. All right. Second, all in favor say aye. Aye.